This is Dr. Abhiram Dixit, and today we are going to talk about a blog about Savarkar, The Whirlwind. I founded this blog on internet and was really interested in finding out more about the author. The author is Dr. Wolf, and he's a distinguished scholar and researcher, and he specializes in South Asian politics, particularly in Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Afghanistan. His work also addresses broader regional dynamics. He has earned his academic credentials at Heidelberg University. There, he studied at both Institute of Political Sciences and South Asia Institute. Then, for his master's, the thesis was about Hindu nationalism. So, he studied Hindu nationalism as a social movement. And later, for his PhD, his doctoral research, he focused on collective identity in India. In this, he used Vinayak Damodar Savarkar's Hindutva concept as a key case study. And now he is writing a blog about Savarkar, a German researcher and a scholar in political sciences. Today, we are going to talk with Dr. Wolf. Hello, Dr. Wolf. Good afternoon
Hello.
for you.
Good afternoon.
Morning. And
Good morning.
as I have introduced you now, so I understand that your background is from political sciences. Then you studied Southeast Asia region, that is India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Afghanistan, and then in your post graduation, in your masters, you did something about India, the right wing nationalism. That was your research topic, and finally, in your doctorate, you handled a case study of Vinayak Damodar Savarkar, who is also called Swatantraveer Savarkar here, as a case study for Hindutva politics. Now he's not very popular person in India for the intellectual group, and I'm really interested to understand what drew you to Savarkar? Why Savarkar? And I will be really happy if I can understand your intellectual journey, how you reach here. Why Savarkar? Please.
Okay, why Savarkar? Thank you very much. This is an excellent question. I have to say several streams led me to the study of Savarkar. First of all, you wonderfully explained already a little bit my academic career. As you mentioned, this is the first stream, the content-orientated work. I would say that my master thesis was on Hindu nationalist movement. This was during a time when we had several issues within the Sangh Parivar, the conflicts between under Vajpayee government, where there was some issues between the BJP, the VHP on one side and another side, and the RSS as moderator. And at that time, I was looking at the Sangh Parivar as a social movement. I used the European concept of movement research on Savarkar. But the master thesis was more on the organizational aspects of social movements. But nevertheless, observing this, let's say, trouble within the Sangh family at that time, this brought me to another stream of research of social movement, identity-orientated research. So this approach to social movements asks the question, basically, what holds a movement together? Yeah, what is the strength of a movement besides the organizational aspects? And when you look at the Hindu nationalist movement or the Sangh Parivar, you come automatically to the core term Hindutva. So, and then I was starting already during my master thesis to understand or try to understand what is the term Hindutva, what it means. And then, of course, you got overwhelmed by many books called Hindutva, titled Hindutva, articles, but not one of them really gives you a concrete idea what is Hindutva. Here and there, you found some references that the term was coined originally by a person called Vinayak Damodar Savarkar, which was completely new more or less new for me at that time. And I got interested, let's say like this. But of course, this topic went far beyond the objective of my realm of my master thesis. But I kept it in mind, and I wanted to go deeper into that. Yeah, I discussed this with my professor, doctor father, and also my boss then later. And then he got this idea in my head why you don't go further, why you don't proceed this idea of collective identity and in the context of Hindutva and Savarkar. So this was so more or less an academic stream, academic working stream, which brought me to Savarkar. Then there was, of course, a second stream, let's say, the classical academic career, the professional approach. So I was not only studying political science South Asia, I was also working in the department. First as student assistant, and then as a lecturer, we would say, in the department. And then I had a colleague who worked on Nehru. Perhaps this was influencing me to work then on Savarkar. Okay, more. And yeah, and then of course and there was always some critical comments already about Savarkar. And then this made me somehow interesting. So I got already an idea during my master thesis that Savarkar was very much discussed and very emotionally overloaded. And this caught my attention, I have to admit. And so I wanted to go deeper into that. This was catching my eye. I didn't want to have a boring topic. Yeah. So I wanted to have a topic which has, where I enter a new area, a new field of work. Yeah. And I really discovered that there was a lack, a gap of, we have always to remember, I'm talking about the time about 2000, yeah, 2003 when I started working on Savarkar more in detail. So at that time there was no Vikram Sampath do this excellent work on Savarkar. Yeah? There were either people who condemned Savarkar or who praised Savarkar. We had title like at that time like Prince of Princes and things like this. But from the academic perspective, there was not sufficient work done at the time. And this was for me incentive enough to get involved. And then there was a little private reason how I get interested in Savarkar even before I started my master thesis. I found by luck, accident in a second-hand book shop in Heidelberg, a German translation of 1857, yeah, of Savarkar's book. And this was my first contact actually with Savarkar. Yeah? Translated in 1940s, was very interesting. Of course, the timing also. And this is why I got already a little bit involved in that. And yeah, this is actually how I got to Savarkar studies.
Yeah, great to understand that. And I'm really fascinated how you funnel down to Savarkar, like from big picture of India, Pakistan, Afghanistan, then to India, then to right-wing politics of India, then to Sangha Parivar, and then to intellectual debates, and at the end you came to Savarkar. I'm really amazed. I will also like to know. So as we have discussed, you have studied multiple thinkers and right-wing icons. No doubt Savarkar is a right-wing icon, but he is never studied in depth intellectually. So you have studied multiple other contemporary leaders. You know what's the current political discourse of India. And many contemporary right-wing thinkers today and yesterday are blamed or criticized for mythologizing the past. By mythologizing, I mean you find everything in your scriptures. You can find all the guidance in your scriptures. You can find all the science and technology in your scriptures, things like that. And the right wing is blamed for being regressive, not following or not discussing the topics inside The conditions like liberty, equality, fraternity, we don't care about it. And you have some different set of values. Those
Yeah.
values, right-wing values, are regressive, and whole right wing is blamed for that. As you have studied multiple people, multiple icons of the right wing, how do you see Savarkar differently than others in this perspective, like mythologizing the past, pro-scripture mentality, being regressive? How you see Savarkar is different?
Let's focus first on this word right wing. I got already puzzled about this during my master thesis or during my whole studies. See, the people who blame Savarkar and like-minded person as right wing today. These are when you transfer these people, when you identify these people in the academic, scientific world, or social science in particular, of, these are the same people who often want to reject or try to reject the idea of using Western theories on the Indian concept. Yeah, but somehow there is a contradiction. Yeah, on one side, there's a reject Western theories to explain anything which has to do with South Asia. Yeah, because it's from outside, it's not good enough, it doesn't work in the South Asian context. Having said this, the same people using the left-right continuum, yeah, in the Indian context.
Okay.
So, and my point is, when we use the left-right continuum, or dichotomy, I don't care how you want to call it now, on the Hindu nationalist movement or on Savarkar, or in the Indian context at all, I think it just does not work in India. It works perhaps in the European context where you can say, oh, there's a left wing, there's a right wing, yeah. But I don't think it works in India, and I give you an example why I come to this conclusion or to this idea or my hypothesis in this context. Yeah. For example, I think we have to ask, for example, the question in our context now: who made Hindu nationalism socially acceptable? Who? Who brought Hindu nationalism in the mainstream? From my perspective, from my humble observation, it was not the BJP who made
Rajiv Gandhi.
Hindu national mainstream. It was actually the Congress. Yeah, it was the Congress party who played the first time the so-called Hindu card in election or an electoral campaign. Yeah, it was the Indian National Congress under Indira Gandhi and later then under Rajiv Gandhi who first used Hindu rhetoric in election and who had more or less authoritarian regime, which we would describe today as right wing. Yeah, I mean, I just give you some example from the Indian political history. First, we all know the emergency. Yeah, this was not BJP. This was the Indian National Congress government. Yeah, I give you other examples. What about the forced sterilization program from Sanjay, family planning program? Yeah.
Yeah, and
The process of the demolition of slums in New Delhi, also Sanjay Gandhi, yeah, Congress Party. Operation Blue Star, might be reason, might be no reason, but or who built the first Hindu temple after the partition? It was Patel in Somnath, yeah. This might be all justified. There is the rationale behind all this political decision making, but there were obviously some Hindu rhetoric with involved and authoritarian tendencies. Yeah. So, And the best example, this or lead to a situation where we always think RSS is with BGP, this is the Sang family. But just recall the 1984 election. Who supported more or less officially or unofficially? There you have different interpretation of the days. Some people say, this was not officially that the RSS supported the INC, International Congress, or it was just individuals. But when it comes to the result was that many RSS workers were not supporting the BGP in the election. They were supporting the International Congress. And why? Because they thought that the Indian National Congress at that time was a party to go for who is better in representing Hindu interests.
Right.
Because at that time, the BGP was under Vajpayee identified as too moderate, not strong enough on Hindu interests.
Mm-hmm.
So this is why I mentioned this, is you can't see black and white, left and right in the Indian context.
Okay.
The things are fluid.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just this, to have this in mind when we label a person or an organization as right or left in the Indian context. So now back to Savarkar. For me, when you used the word myth, here we have to say
Mythologization. It's like like finding everything in the scripture.
And Savarkar never invented myth, but he drew inspiration from it. For example, Shivaji. For him, Shivaji played a very important role in using myth for nationhood, for nation building. Shivaji was for him a very important element.
But these are historical figures. I'm more interested in like scriptures, like Vedas, and was he like going back to Vedas or going back to some scripture? Like that regressive approach is quite discussed in India. So what is your take on that?
I mean, frankly speaking, I don't think he had much time, and he spent much time in reading old scriptures.
Right.
Here and there, he even made clear statement that he reject manuscripti. And he was against all kind of superstition. It was. I call this in my work. I made his biggest problem with studying this old scripture was. I look now for the English translation. It was a kind of the dichotomy world affirmation and world negation.
Mm-hmm.
So what he saw the biggest threat in reading scripture, that you turn your back to the world, to the real issues. So you get too much into word. And this was actually, you study, you talk philosophical, but you don't do action. This was one point which Savarkar completely rejected. This here we have to see, this was completely against his idea about his pragmatic approach to political and social problems. Otherwise, in this context, I mean, we have to say all the whole mythology was for him like a kind of instrument. For myths were useful for his building of a collective identity. To make a reference to the culture, but he did not want that you follow this blindly.
Right.
And linked with that, similar is also his approach. Important is what we have to discuss, his idea of democracy. This is also linked with this. It's interesting to see how he makes, I don't want to say concession, but how he is pragmatic in his view. Yeah. For example, he was a great admirer of the Hindu kingdom in Nepal. Yeah. He saw it as a yeah, like kind of ideal state for ideal form of governments for a potential future Hindu Rashtra. But he was also pragmatic enough to see that a monarchical form of governance for a huge state like India is just impossible. It's not practical. Yeah. So this is why he um, preferred a democratic, a republic form of governance. But he was always he did not give up his idea about a strong hand. Yeah, this is how he combines, for example, when we're talking about myth. Yeah, he took the idea from the myth. I think it's called Chakravartita, the world ruler, the world conqueror. Yeah, which he likes to combine with Shivaji. Yeah, and from this he draw the inspiration or this concept of a strong hand, yeah, and centralized governance, yeah. So this is a fluid transfer of ideas from the past to the future, yeah, future form of governance, yeah. From the myth, he picks up and forms the myth into a concept of governance. So, and he has a parallel, I mean, not only Shivaji, second favorite idea is a picture image was, I don't know if you started it, I think he wrote in the book Six Glorious Epochs of Indian History, he referred to uh, he not only made references to the Greek city-states, which had a democratic form, of course, as we all know, but also to Indian city-states, which had also a structure of the as a democratic structure, what he admired. Yeah, so this is how he drew back from the history and wants to say, "God, we had this already. Let's do this again." Yeah. So yeah.
Great.
Otherwise, yeah.
Yeah, just to conclude this question, I would like to ask, like, if you want to differentiate Savarkar from rest other Hindu icons or contemporary thinkers, politicians, what will be the single most differentiator besides any other question? Like, I don't want any context. Like, how you see Savarkar different than other contemporary Hindu politics or current contemporary Hindutva politics, and how do you see in going forward in next 10 years, 15 years, what will be the relevance of Vinayak Damodar Savarkar in Indian politics?
Um, First of all, what is most important for me is that he has a universal view, a comprehensive view on issues. Yeah, many thinkers or politicians they like to focus only one thing. Yeah, either on a certain policy field. Yeah, it's foreign policy or domestic policy. Hindu national thinker they love to talk about or focus about culture politics. Yeah, I mean, just think about how many people talk in Hindu nationalist talk that just focus only on the textbook issue, for example, yeah, or on temple issues. Is for Savarkar important, but it's only just one thing. Yeah, he always tried to see the bigger, the larger picture. Yeah, so this is one thing, not issue focused, but multidimensional. Yeah, you can see this also in his Hindutva concept. Yeah, in this when you see this like how Savarkar saw Hindutva concept is not just the notion of citizenship. Yeah, who is a potential citizen of a future India? Yeah, this is it's wrong doing to Savarkar when you narrow down his thinking only on that issue. No, Savarkar's Hindutva concept is much more larger. Yeah. beside this coding of Hindutva or construction of Hindutva, you have a lot of political thoughts, how he about governance, yeah, his social reform measures, his thinking behind the social reform measures, even economic thoughts he had. Perhaps not so much because he was no economist, but he thought also on economic issue because everything was linked with each other for Savarkar. Yeah. So this is one issue with different. And second, of course, uh, he was also a man of action. Yeah, not just a thinker, a talker. He did it by himself. Yeah, and he not just issued a statement of, "Oh, we have to improve the situation of untouchable." He went there. He organized by himself uh, the funding of a bus, and told the bus driver that everybody goes on the board, uh, is allowed to go in, or in a cinema, or in a restaurant. Yeah. So this concrete action you have, this makes him, I think, sets him apart. Second, third, and the incredible level of personal sacrifice. Of course, this is for a person in his time. Yeah, it was, I don't want to say easier to get into that, but yeah, it was during British colonial rule. Today it's more difficult because you don't have colonial ruler, so to be militant. So this was a different time, but still, yeah, um, the level of personal sacrifice. Today it would look different, yeah.
Mhm.
Um, so these are the three, for me, the three main issues which separates him from many other thinkers, yeah, or politicians, yeah. Um,
And now we have understood difference. Like my last question, I'm coming towards.
yeah.
Like, how do you see Savarkar's, how you will position Savarkar's thought in further intellectual or political discourse or the debates, where he stands, and what is his importance going ahead for BJP or for the, you don't like that word, right wing, but for the BJP supporters and the Hindutva supporters, they will like to understand from you that where Savarkar will be positioned in the total discussion about political discourse going ahead.
Um, I think in many things, in many issues, topics, he was beyond his time, his
Mhm.
contemporaries, or perhaps at least, let's see, what sets him apart, which makes him important, significant for today, that he spoke out the issues which other people didn't want to talk about and
Mhm.
got sidelined. Yeah. Nobody wanted to hear about his warnings on Pakistan. What means the emergence of Pakistan, the partition. Yeah. So, so this is an important issue. I think he gains significance, especially in the time, uh, as you know, most likely, since we talk about political issues and problems, and then in our conversation before, um, in a time where you have woke gender on all these issues, yeah, where you make a strict separation between progressive people and regressive people, yeah. It's a little bit like it goes in the direction of my elaboration on left and right continuums. The same counts for progressive and regressive. What is progressive and what is regressive today? And here I think Sabaka is very important for us. Um, um, when you think, when so-called right wing are uh, labeled as regressive and the so-called left wing are suddenly the progressive people. What does this mean in actual politics today? Does this mean then I am supporting the Hamas in Gaza. Is this progressive? Hmm.
Mm.
Is this progressive when I'm a pro-Mullah regime in Iran? Hmm. Is this progressive when I do appeasement politics or talk nicely about the Islamist jihadist in India? Is this progressive when I don't downplay the cross-border terrorism by Pakistan? I don't think so. Yeah. If it's progressive, downplaying the killing of Hindus and persecution of Hindus in Bangladesh, I don't think so. Yeah. Um, so the way how these things are getting imposed on us, yeah, uh, this way, I think this is not a progressive culture. I mean, this is not healthy for any democratic, for any constructive debate in a democracy. Yeah. So, and this, I think, is why it's important that we can talk about Savaka in a free manner. Yeah. I mean, the significance of Savaka is for me, it's a symbol not only for the freedom fight in the past, it's for me today a symbol for freedom of speech.
Mm-hmm.
So it must be allowed that we can talk about Savaka without getting immediately attacked by the state. Oh, Savaka was this, Savaka was that, and Savaka wrote petition, Savaka got a pension, without giving the floor. Wait a second, we need to see this in the context. Yeah, you can't say just this and this and this, black and white. Yeah. Um, so and. You asked me also that the question if Sabaka, how does he fit into this left, right wing, and regressive and progressive thing? Yeah, and also here, I mean, when we use the words as we understand it today, or you apply it today, I mean, Sabaka would be perhaps somehow, I say, betwixt and between. Yeah. um, of course, I mean, when you think about his Hindutva concept, yeah, there were exclusive elements. Yeah. You had to do some stuff. Yeah. You have to
Yeah, yeah, and
fulfill
that's
the
what he
criteria.
stands for.
Yeah.
Like,
But it was also, see, it was every all balance. Yeah. Hindutva concept is on one side exclusive when you have some restriction on your holy places. There must be holy places in India for you. Yeah. And you must have Indian parents and you must be born in India to be a Hindu. Okay. But on the other side, he was also inclusive. Yeah, he tried to include as much as possible. Yeah, because he believed in the greatest numbers. Yeah, the more number, the
democracy.
more power. Yeah,
Democracy. Yeah.
yeah. So this is why he was okay. If he was anti-Muslim, I know this goes far beyond our conversation today. This is a series of discussion in the future for us. It's a complex issue, but also there. Just one or two lines. This is very important for many people to understand this. Yeah, when you see there's also the clear thing. Before, I think I always in my PhD I wrote about the schism, the Andaman schism. Yeah, I think before I think he was much more open to a kind of Hindu-Muslim unity. And when you read his 1857 book, yeah, this is a homage on Hindu-Muslim unity. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
I have to say. Yeah, I mean he really believed in that's possible. Yeah, after the Andamans, I think he turned. And in particular, it got then when he saw that the petition will come, yeah, then he was a little bit, yeah, he got more stricter. Um, and anti-Pakistan, well, I mean, this is not a thing. This is this are yeah. When you see what's happening in India with all the like, for example, like the latest terrorist attack, and next month we have Mumbai, yeah, the remembering of the Mumbai attacks. Um, so this is not typical right wing. Yeah, I mean, I think this goes through all political colors, we would say in Europe, camps. Yeah, to be unhappy about
Yeah.
that.
Hope so.
This has nothing to do with left wing, right wing. Yeah, perhaps some left wing would say, no, we ignore that. But I think this is a general understanding in India that this is a very bad thing and one has to do something about it. So it's not Savarkar, not right wing. Yeah? And I hear also, I was reading a lot of things that Savarkar is right wing because he was pro-military. And he pushed, the famous slogan, Hinduized politics, militarized Hindus. But when you see the world of today, I mean, this was
Far more needed.
it's very important. Yeah, I mean, everything. What he said. Okay, we need a strong military. We need military education, even also the woman. Yeah, so also many people forget. Nobody talks about it. How strong he was fighting for equality. Yeah, for
Women
women
rights.
rights. Yeah, yeah. He wanted to have also women in the army, not just educate, also in the army. Yeah. This we have just got forgotten, sidelined, yeah, by many critics, yeah. So he was far ahead many other people, yeah, in this thinking, and this has nothing to do with right wing. When you want to have strong nation, and actually, this is it's in the national interest today, yeah. When you see what's happening um, in the Ukraine and how important military is, even the European who did not like to spend any penny for the military understands how important it is now to build up. Yeah, in my own country, yeah, Germany, who invests now a lot of money. I mean, this is when you hear the German politician talking. I hear Savarkar talking. Yeah, this is why he is so important. As everything what Savarkar said is now national necessity of many things.
Right. Great. I guess we are at the end of our interview, and let's conclude. So again, I thank you for your time, and I hope we can continue this with the next few
Pleasure.
questions. Today we discussed about why how you reached to Savarkar from the regional conflict to Hindutva and to funnel down Sangha Parivar and then to Savarkar. Then we talked about how Savarkar was different from contemporary politicians, and at the end you gave your opinion about what will be his role in future, and what are the traits we can follow from the past to future, and where can we dwell upon. So thank you very much, Dr. Wolf, for your in-depth analysis and your insights in this topic. Some of them were really like new things for me as well. I'm reading this for like years now. So thank you very much, and I hope we can continue this series on Savarkar. And in next episode, we can talk more about the Hindu-Muslim issue and how was his opinions made or changed about Islam and Hindu-Muslim unity. So till then,
thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, and
hopefully,
thank you. Any last words from you?
Oh, it was a great pleasure talking about Savarkar, and I like to share my views, and I'm very happy when we would continue our dialogue, and hope this was just a start for a lot of future fruitful discussion. I think there's a need for that. Absolutely.
Great. Thanks a lot, Dr. Wolf. Thank you again, and see you soon.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
See you.